All right, so let's start with SAP system architecture. So here, uh, what is system architecture? What is SAP system architecture? So this is more into technical, but as SAP functional consultant, we should have some basic understanding of system architecture. That is the reason why we are discussing here. Actually, in real time, SAP basis consultants are responsible for setting up system architecture. Okay, so here we have two types of architecture. One is technical architecture and another one is landscape architecture. So what is technical architecture? We will try to understand from this infographics. So in technical architecture here, can we see here, and it is also called as a three-tier client or server architecture, because here we have three layers. One is presentation layer, application layer, and database layer, right? So we as consultants and business users, we have access to presentation layer. Okay, so by using different user interfaces like GUI and Fiori app, which is part of presentation layer, we access SAP. So here it is a presentation layer. Then the second layer is application layer, where actually SAP software is resides. Okay, right? And the fourth layer is database layer. So whatever data generated whenever we carry out configurations and then transactions and all that data is stored in the database here, and that is part of database layer, right? So let's deep dive into this one. So here we have presentation layer. So let's highlight some of the important points related to presentation layer. So provides a graphical screen to user. So if we see here, whether it is a Fiori app or the GUI, let me open so you will have more clarity. So here, let's say this is screen, any of these, just to show you how it looks like. Right, so as you can see, this is graphical user interface, GUI, a user interface, right? So what it says, so provides a graphical screen to user, then a user enters data on the screen, shows process data to the screen, because by using GUI and graphical user interface, we create organizational data, configuration data, transactional data, master data, all types of data, right? So, so here what it says, the user enters data on the screen and then shows process data to the user. So, for example, if we are creating a purchase order, for example, then as soon as we create a purchase order number is generated, which is nothing but a transactional data, right? So when we enter, just let me take you to purchase order screen just to show you one example, like ME21N here. So in order to create a purchase order, vendor information is entered here, right? And then what materials we are entering, all that is entered. And then uh, uh, as soon as all mandatory fields are filled up, then we can create a purchase order. So here what it says, so shows process data to the user. So this is carried out in presentation layer. So all user interfaces are part of presentation layer, right? And then the second layer is application layer. So here actually the in this layer SAP software resides, we can say, right? So here process data in this layer, application layer, process data using application logic, communicate with both layers. Both layers means presentation layer and database layer, read or write from database. So as you can see in this layer, user enters data, and that data is processed in application layer. And whatever data, as a result of processing data, whatever new data is generated, so here it stores and provides data here. So all that data is stored here in database layer, that is stores data. And as you can see here, user enters data, then processing data and stores and provides data, then requests data from database, all that. This is how these layers communicate with each other. Okay, so this is about technical architecture. This is all about technical architecture, right? So for more detail, you can discuss, because from functional consultant point of view, we should know what is technical architecture and and landscape architecture. So whatever I just explained, same I have provided in the form of paragraphs, so you can read and understand from this paragraph. Okay, so if we talk about ECC business suite, in the presentation layer we have GUI. In the application layer we have ECC 6.0 AHP7, and in the database layer, because in ECC we can use any database, right? It may be Oracle, MySQL, DB2, or any, right? So in case of ECC, you can see in presentation layer, GUI, we have GUI, and then in application layer, here the actual is SAP business application, then here the database. If we talk about SAP S4 HANA, so because here we have two user interfaces, one is GUI and another one is Fiori app. So in presentation layer, we have these two, and then in application layer, our main application, that is SAP S4 HANA 2020 or 2021, which is the latest one, and then the database which is used is HANA database we have. Okay, right. So as you can see, in a nutshell, any actions you do, meaning whenever we are executing any transaction, right? So actions you do on the presentation layer is passed to the application layer for processing, which would retrieve any relevant data from the database layer, and the application layer processes the data and present it to you via the presentation layer. Okay, so this is about presentation technical architecture, right? Another architecture we have is landscape architecture. So this technical architecture is standard. So we always have this structure. Okay, but this landscape architecture here, to understand, let's look at this infographics. Right, look at this one, right? So in case of landscape, what happened, as you can see here, there are three systems. One is development system, second one is quality or testing system, and the third one is production system. If our company is using three systems, then it is called as three system landscape architecture. So this three system landscape architecture is very commonly used. Big companies can use four system landscape. One is development system, second quality, third one is pre-production, fourth one is production. And in maybe medium-sized companies, they may use only two system landscape. One is development, another one is production. So based on number of system used, it is called as two system landscape, three system landscape, or four system landscape, right? So minimum two, maximum four. And the most commonly used landscape is three system landscape. Okay, so as you can see, in every landscape we have the technical architecture, whether in all our development system, quality system, or the production system, you can see we have three layers: a presentation layer, application layer, and database layer, right? So this is about landscape architecture. So what happened, in these, so as we have just discussed about three system landscape, one is development server or system, then second one is quality, and the third one is production. In this development system, as per business requirement, they create a number of clients, right? So for example, look at this one. In this development system, you can see it's like, let's say this is our let's compare this with our computer hard disk. All right, let's compare these systems with computer hard disk. One development system I am comparing with one hard disk, right? So what we do with our system, so for example, here let me show you one example to have better understanding. This is my PC, right? And in this PC, I have one hard disk, and my hard disk is virtually divided into 3 drives, right? As per my requirement, because there is a purpose for every drive. Normally, for example, I have divided my hard disk into 3 drives, that is C, D, and E. And in C, I store program files, and in D, let's say training files. In E, maybe personal files, for example. Right? For different purposes, I have created. So similarly, here in SAP, because as I said, SAP basis consultants are responsible. So let me brief you about the consultants as well, because we are coming across these terms very frequently. So what I will do is, let me discuss. Let's discuss about consultants. User interfaces, consultant, system architecture. Okay, not here. Ah, same. User database, business suites. Okay, I think it is in projects. Let me see. Oh, I think here in level. Yeah, right. Consultant roles. Okay, so here in SAP, we have 3 types of consultants. One is functional consultant, second one is technical consultant, and the third one is technological consultant. Sometimes both of them are also called as technical consultants. Okay, so functional consultants, like for all functional modules, like we have MM, SD, EWM, FICO, right, PP, and TM. These are functional consultant, functional modules. And for functional modules, we have functional consultants. So similarly, for technical modules like ABAP, right? So technical modules like SAP ABAP is a technical module, and the consultant for technical modules are called as technical consultant. Similarly, we have basis or technology support, right? So normally we say like hardware and networking engineer, right? So in SAP, they are called as basis consultant. They are called as basis consultant. So these 3, based on the modules, they are called as functional consultant, technical consultants, and the technological consultants, or SAP administrator. So setting up SAP system architecture, whatever we are discussing here, it comes under the scope of basis consultant or the technology consultant. Okay, so setting up all these one, right? So what we were discussing, yeah. So this is about the different consultants and their roles. And for functional consultants, as we know, we don't need to do any coding and all. It is all about logical things. And whenever there is a development or coding is required, we have the ABAP consultants. So who are responsible for development and coding as per business requirement. And this basis consultants or technological consultants, they are nothing but hardware and networking engineers, right, for SAP. Right, right. So we discuss about this technical architecture. And yeah. So what we were comparing our system hard disk, right? So let's say I'm comparing my system with let's say this systems or servers. So what we are doing with our system, as per our requirement, we are creating virtual partitions, right? Which are nothing but drives like C, D, and E. So similarly, here in SAP systems, as per business requirement, basis consultants, basis consultants, they create different clients like configuration testing client, ABAP development client, unit testing client, right? In development. Similarly, in quality, they have, and then production. So here I have listed out most commonly used clients in these. For example, like in development, they create development client, configuration client, testing client, and these clients with a three character number, 3-digit number. For example, here, can you see whenever I'm trying to create a login, can you see a client number? And here it is showing as 800. It's a client 800. Client 800 is for training purpose always. So as you can see here, and the client 800 is for training purpose always. Let me show you the number series which is followed. Okay, so client 800. So here for client we have another file. Let me logical system. Yeah, this is client. Now we are discussing about client. So as you see, whenever we are trying to log in, the client user password comes and we enter these credentials, right? So we are discussing about this particular client. So here, so here if you see, right, here I have listed out. So normally in development system, 4 clients are created, like configuration, which is also known as golden client, then development client, sandbox, and unit testing client. And here the companies they use, so they may be using 100 series or 101 like this. Or if they are using 100 series, then 100, 200, 300. Or if they are using 101, then 102, 103, like they give the number. So as you can see here, the training client, which is created in the quality system, always is a 800 number. So we are using a training system. That is the reason why the client is 800 here. Okay. So the client is 800. So what is the purpose of client? So here, because as you can see here, like in our computer, we have different drives. So similarly, we have different clients there, and in different we have created different drives for different purposes. Similarly, clients for different purposes, like 800 client for testing purpose, 100 client for configuration purpose, and then 600 client for production, like this, right? So, so this is the concept of a client which we have. So let me show you. All right. So here, so we discussed about SAP system architecture, technical architecture, and landscape architecture, and SAP client. right? What is client and all that we have discussed. So as we proceed, we will have more clarity. Okay, we will have more clarity here. We are just trying to understand technical aspects of SAP. So for this, technical consultants are responsible, but as a functional consultant, we should have basic understanding of SAP system architecture, technical architecture, landscape architecture, and client. Right. So any question before we jump to next part?